G'day everybody. I want to talk about, hey, do you hear some sirens? Sort of fading away. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I want to talk about what's a bad guy and what's a local bad guy, what's an Aussie bad guy. You're probably going, what do you mean again? Bad guys, bad guy. No, there's different bad guys. I've talked about bad guys in different bad guy levels. There's actually bad guys because they supply and they do the right thing in what they believe is what is right with the science and things they've learned. And so you find in some countries, like I said, some countries agree with things, some don't. And so if you do what, and they do with science and all that, and they've got all that, and if that country doesn't, like you'll see in North Korea a lot and stuff like that, you'll find that people are more bad guys because they're not doing the North Korean laws, right, in that country. Right? And so they would be called North Korean bad guys. They're only doing that because they're trying to make North Korea better for everybody in North Korea, not just the leader, right? And so there's bad guys who don't give a fuck. They're more up the ladder when it comes to the devil minions, right, and the devil. And then there is actual... Just going to turn this off. I'll see if I can turn down. I've only got a couple of channels on that. Pretty much ABC, which is shocking. So I watch movies now a lot lately. And so back to bad guys. So you have bad guys who will infiltrate your land, make you bad guys on your land, even cop it, like Russians infiltrating a mob, right, in Australia, Australian mob, you know, those type of movies, right? And they're bad guys. Sometimes they do it, you know, for their country. But you can call them bad guys. You're the Australian one, like gangster mob, right? And they're more heading that direction as they're going out of their limits to do their bad things besides their country. Right? So there's different levels of bad guys, and you can rate them. Have you ever seen a show where serial killers get rated and people get rated? There's these guys and people who like to make documentaries. I could do one myself about where you can rate people by using science and psychology and how they think and all these things, how crazy or non-crazy, how bad they are, all this kind of stuff. And so I'm talking about a similar thing, right? And we all do that personally when we meet people from the start, on how they dress and wear and how they're acting. We make quicker decisions and we move on from there on what we do between our friends and collective decisions and all those kind of things, which is what life is when you meet new people all the time, to try to find out what they are, if they're a bad guy or not. And the quicker the better you find that out, the better, isn't it? And to sort out the baddest and deal with them threats out there first before all the other threats, right? And we've been doing that for a long time. And so when it comes to the bad guys, I like to class things in different areas. So if I had the police, if I had the power to able to guide the police or was in the police force, and I had to guide them to a certain way, that's how, and I had limited money and resources and all that kind of thing. You got to look at everything, where you'd have to guide them to, right? And who you should pick on more, who you should really grab and throw the ground and go, fucking can, more likely in a first act, right? Otherwise, I say to them, don't do that kind of stuff. But if you have these things, outcomes, and you know these outcomes, there's more higher level where you can do those acts and pull out your gun and all that kind of shit. But if they're not in those things and they're in these other areas, right, more likely I prefer you not to do these, right? Like pull out a stun gun on my grandma, right, is what I'm trying to talk about, right? By knowing a bit more education, a bit more guidance on where to attack first and to worry about, because sometimes the bad things happen all the time. You might have, like when a copper pulls over someone for a basic roadside test, and as they're doing that, a bank guy goes past and he's shooting at people and shit and goes wrong going past, and it's like, well, the copper technically, and he's right, he can still just keep on doing the ticket. Depends on his courage and how much he wants to put into things and how he sees things. And other people's right to believe, to drill him if he didn't or stays, right? If he goes, he might get drilled for the actions, what happens when he goes, right? But that's the actions of life, and we try to make a balance of the best decision. And so more likely the police officer would probably go, look, I'll finish up this roadside ticket. It's going to be an easy thing. I've got your number plate already. See you later. And you see that a lot, right? As you can deal with that situation still and even let it go if you want to, but you can still deal with that situation because you've already got, once you've got a number plate, you pretty much, and you got the, maybe even got the license off them, you can pretty much now throw it down and deal with it later if it's a small thing. Right? But when it comes to people's lives, people getting killed, all these things, they're the more priority that you want to step up first, right? In the higher rank of certain things that happen. Otherwise, what you do is you step in before things get higher, which is pre-preventing police officer duties as well. Like perhaps before that person went, take it off, you already pulled them over and seen these other things, and that you couldn't do certain steps that you knew because your law wouldn't allow you. So you make sure every day that you keep talking to your buddies and to the people and even threaten them that you wouldn't want to stay and you're a good worker, and show that you're a good worker before you ever do threats to businesses. Always make sure that you're a good worker. Right? They're going to miss something, and show them that what they're doing is wrong, and they'll miss things, and stick up for your opinion. Right? And if people see cops do that all the time, even if things are going bad for 6 months or a year, or even the cops doing all that all the time, and speaking about that and being with us in all the other areas and doing the best they can, find loopholes so they don't have to do certain things like people do to go towards bad lawyers and all that kind of stuff, and we'd all get along. Right? You show what you're putting out, right? And the more they do that in business areas, all businesses are the same, the more people will trust that area, right? And help to go back to like just buying things like they were a while ago, where people were just buying crazy. But when we find out that we've got more fraudsters than ever and stuff like that, so you settle down. Then after a while, you don't want to do any, and so to get that back, you have to get the trust back. And internet safe and all these other things, right? And we've helped to sort out these areas. And to do these, if you do things legitly, you might find that people might help you out if you understand their stories, and that's by doing things legitly, and always letting. And by doing things legitly too, when you punish someone, you always got to show them another way, a proper way, and several ways if you can, of how they can proceed and not do what they're doing, and give them that opportunity, and make sure that you're giving whatever advice you're giving them, that everybody can get that same advice. The worst thing I hate is YouTube and their ads. And, the beach walker dude. Join my crew and you can just put a couple of buttons in, go for a beach walk, come back and look, you got 30 grand after 10 grand, right? And then you take out your 20 grand, right? And you scam someone, right? We can't all have those groups, right? In certain areas like the police force and the government and for the people, we need better ways of thinking and helping people and things like that. That kind of stuff shouldn't. In fact, if you want to help people, I prefer that if you can tell businesses not even to advertise such things that are wrong, would be a start, like how we try to advertise about getting rid of gambling and stuff. It should be promoted without a downfall that what they just said is a scam. If you fall for it, that's your fault. Put that at the end of it, like you do with the smokes, with that beach walk and stuff like that. But anyway, have a good one. And I'm going to get back to watching a movie. See you later. And the baby said bye too.